What is going on, everyone? So today I have the pleasure of having Cynthia, who I've been following on Instagram for a while now, and genuinely impressed with not only her 100K sales months, but also the content that she puts on social media, as well as the abundant amount of FBM orders that she fulfills. Thank you so much, Cynthia, for coming on.
Okay, yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Could you give a quick introduction to the viewers about yourself?
So my name's Cynthia. I've been doing Amazon for about a year now. Um, Before that, I was just working like at HD Supply, and I was also selling shoes on the
Okay.
side. I tried to get promoted, but they kept denying my application. So I started looking for a different outcome for revenue, but I couldn't like really find anything. So I joined these Discord groups. They had this little Amazon section, and I started diving into it, but it didn't really have too much information. So then I kind of went into YouTube, and that's when I found like Flips for Miles, Fields of Profit, and some other guys in there. So yeah, I started just going into that, and that's how
Cool,
I kind
cool.
of everything.
Yeah, I think most people that come sell on Amazon, I think I've spoke with other people about this. They're already reselling in some sort of capacity, right? And then they
Hmm.
find out that Amazon has so much traffic and so much volume that they kind of gravitate towards that.
Yeah,
Um, I was also selling shoes prior to that. Are you talking about like kind of hype shoes and stuff like
yeah,
that?
like Jordans, well, like everyday shoes. I sold my collection,
Oh,
so
did
I had
you?
a whole collection. So I ended up getting like around $5,000 off of that,
There you
and so
go.
that ended up being like my startup cost for Amazon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the sneaker market was doing really good, right? During COVID, especially. And then it kind
Oh
of
yeah.
started dying down. And that's kind of where like I had to kind of meander my way out of it. I was deep in sneaker reselling as well as like bots and stuff like that. And as you
I
can
tried
tell,
to get into botting. I couldn't get into botting too much. Like I tried it and it didn't work out for me.
right? No, for sure. I mean, with botting, it's more so you just have to spend so much. And that's what some people don't
Mhm.
fathom, how much you have to
Mhm.
spend to actually make money. But anyways, so for me, I still have so much, if you can tell from behind me, shoes that are just sitting around like
I
hype shoes that
know.
are just
Those are
like
nice.
they've just plummeted in value though. That's the thing. Like
Um,
I have like 4 or 5 Jordan 1 mochas still, and they were up to I think 800, 900. Now they're like around 400, 500. It's still profitable because I got them for retail, but I've been this Q4 especially, I'm gonna try to sell all of them because I just been
oh
being lazy
yeah.
at this point,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
Because I was gonna try to sell them off during the summertime, but I'm like, why? If I'm been holding on to them for this long, I might as well
Yeah.
just wait till Q4 where the price will probably get a little
Yeah, they're
push.
just going down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The whole
I'm
market is just down right now.
yeah. Yeah. What's crazy is I went from selling hype shoes to now like selling like everyday shoes.
Oh yeah, those what they call bricks.
But even like not even bricks, like less than bricks. At least the bricks,
Oh
like
yeah.
some Jordan ones with brick, whatever, they're still considered like hype. But now it's like Nike Revolution, stuff like that.
Yep.
So So
Mhm.
I think you mentioned earlier that you started selling on Amazon by getting information on YouTube. Is that how you kind of got most of your information, or did you have a mentor? Did you take a course or anything like that?
So I was like looking more into the wholesale model. So then
Mhm,
I stumbled into Watch Me Amazon, Larry Labarsky.
mhm.
So I noticed his course was closed, but I managed to get in through somebody posted a blog and they had a
Okay.
link, like their affiliated link, I guess, at the bottom of the blog. So
Uh-huh.
I got in through that. It was closed, but I still managed to get in. So I hit him up. I'm like, "Hey, is this like a legit link or is it some, is it fake?" And he said, "Oh, it's legit. You found it, so go ahead. If you want to get in, get in." I'm like,
Nice.
okay, for sure. So I got in there, I took the whole course, finished it in like 2 months.
There you
But
go.
then wanted to do wholesale
Mhm.
initially, but then
Right.
I wanted to just get a sale going like ASAP. So instead, I
Right.
did retail arbitrage.
Right.
So I found like some Halloween stuff last year, and that was like my first sale. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pick up like learn everything doing retail arbitrage and OA, and
Mhm.
then start going into wholesale with everything I learned from Larry's course. So
Nice.
that was kind
Nice.
of how I got my
So,
momentum going.
so that
Yeah.
course is valuable then, because sometimes
Oh
I
yeah.
hear various things about just different courses and stuff like that, and I really like try to dispel the notion that you don't need really any course, to be honest with you. But it's
Mhm.
always good to have some sort of like legitimate course that's everything's there instead of just everything jumbled on YouTube and you're spending hours finding bits of information. So that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
It
awesome.
was worth it. I learned a lot from his course.
Nice. So
Mhm.
since you wanted to start with wholesale, and you kind of gravitated towards retail arbitrage and online arbitrage because you wanted to start selling now. Because I understand the wholesale, it's a little process, right, to get
Oh
going.
yeah.
So as it stands today, what is your business model like? Is it FBA? Is it FBM? Is it a hybrid? What kind of
It's
percentage?
definitely a hybrid. I'm
Okay.
doing a hybrid right now. So all of my wholesale stuff, kind of putting a pause on wholesale right now for Q4 and just doing OA RA.
Okay.
But like year round, like this whole year, I was doing wholesale and OA and a little
Okay.
bit of RA. So
Oh,
yeah, I guess it would be like half and half OA and wholesale.
okay.
And so all my FBA stuff is wholesale, which my wholesale stuff I prep myself, but my OA stuff I send to the prep center.
Okay. Wow. Wow. So that information that you took from this course, you have applied it successfully and opened up
Yeah.
wholesale accounts. Nice.
hmm
Nice. Okay. So I personally, when I saw all your videos and stuff, I thought you were doing so much FBM. So you're saying that you still do FBM, but all your wholesale goes FBA. Is that right?
Yes. No. Well, there's still some wholesale stuff that I do FBM.
Okay.
So it's
Oh,
not
word.
all FBA, but the majority of the stuff is FBA for wholesale.
Okay.
But there's like some multiple stuff and some hazmat stuff that I FBM myself.
Okay. Yeah.
So
You
I
have
guess
to.
wholesale FBM.
Nice.
So I do a little bit of both, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of new sellers, when they come on, they always ask me, like, should I start FBA first or FBM first? And it's kind of like a question that's almost irrelevant, you know? But with that being said, what do you see is the most significant advantages by selling through FBM for you personally?
Definitely the cash flow because you get your payouts like so much sooner, like 2 weeks or maybe even sooner if you have express payouts.
Right.
So I would say like if you pick some shoes up at the Nike outlet, you can list them today, and if the rank is good, you can sell them today
Mhm.
and get paid at like as soon as possible, and then you reinvest those profits, and
Right.
then maybe you can start you start doing that at a high like a I guess like a higher. Sorry, I'm like zoning out here.
You're good. You're good.
I guess you start doing that at a higher scale, then you
Uh-huh.
can reinvest those profits at a wholesale
Right.
FBA.
Yeah. I think cash flow really bodes well for new sellers too, because I think they don't understand that once you try to sell something through FBA, it's going to probably take weeks for it to even get on the listing, you know? So,
hmm
so in that aspect, if a new seller was to tell me that he just started selling, should he do FBA or FBM, and he doesn't have that much money, then maybe FBM is the way to go because at least you can get your money back ASAP, right?
Yeah, it depends on the capital that they have too.
Right, right.
Yep.
As far as disadvantages, what would you say is the most apparent disadvantage selling FBM?
Um, Disadvantage, well, definitely the shipping cost. So I'm in California. If I were to ship to New York, I would
Mhm.
have to adjust my template
Right,
and see where that goes at.
right.
Another disadvantage would be not being able to win the buy box against FBA offers.
Mhm.
So that's another disadvantage. But
Right,
if you have your shipping template set to 0 day handling, you can definitely win the buy box against FBA offers for sure.
right. Yeah, I've I've been doing much more FBM, and I've been told by new sellers that whenever they try to list FBM, they never get the buy box. I'm wondering, first of all, I'm not sure what merit that is, like how much has he been selling, how long has he been selling, but I do think if you're selling FBM, like you alluded to, you don't win the buy box as much. I think if you have history, a good track record, I
Yep.
think you can still compete, generally speaking, pretty well against FBA sellers. Um,
Yep.
so like I'll always FBM things that if there's a big box retailer on sale, right? Things are on sale that I know damn well once it gets to Amazon inventory, the price is going to plummet. I will ship it to my house and FBM those. And I generally find that I'm not going to act like if I match FBA, I'll get the buy box, but like
Mhm.
$1 or $2 lower than the buy box, I
Yes.
can still win the buy box. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'll take that over when the buy box is $10 less in 3 weeks, you know?
Yeah. There's also a little side, there's a buy box, right? And then there's like a little bottom buy box, like below the actual buy box that
Uh,
says other sellers.
right,
So those are usually the FBM offers.
right,
So those also come up there. So I think that's also kind of good showing up on
right.
that little buy box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that what I also do on FBM, I'll look at the number of sellers on there, and I'll look at their delivery promise, right? Like if I can match someone's delivery promise and their FBM, I know I can probably beat them, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
especially with 0 day handling, that also helps
yes,
out.
zero helps. I do 1 day handling. I'm not, just because
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
sure if I can get it out that day, so I'll do one. But even with one, you can win because by default it does five,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Also, another tip would be looking at the buy box statistics.
Uh,
So if you look at the buy box statistics and you see the check mark, it means that FBA is, if like you kind of look at the percentages, if mostly FBA is winning it, then
mhm,
it would make sense to FBA that product. But
right,
if FBM had like they don't have the check mark, but they're winning a good percentage of the buy box, it
nice,
makes sense to FBM the product on that
right,
end too.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So during your day to day, right? How much time do you spend sourcing, and how much time do you think a new seller should start sourcing?
I spend around 2 hours or so. I try to like spend at least 2 or 3 thousand per day,
Hmm.
but some days are better than others. For a new seller, I would say around 4 hours at least, just to learn all of the price history, all of the Keepa charts, kind of learn all the movements,
Hmm.
buy box, everything. Basically, just get into the momentum of sourcing every day, and eventually they'll find winning products.
Right. Yeah. I think when a new seller first starts and starts scouring the internet and whatnot, and they can't find anything, they kind of just give up. When for
Yeah.
me, like it took a long time to really process and own that skill, because I think sourcing really is a skill. Like
Oh yeah,
now
definitely.
now I can go on and do all the various kind of tactics I do to source and find products. Whereas, a year ago, year and a half ago, I'd be spending twice as long,
Hmm.
Um, so as far, have you gotten any like messages or sent or people saying that they tried to look for items for like a day or so and they couldn't find anything, things like that?
A lot of people always ask me, how much do I need to start with?
Okay.
That's the number one question I get in my DMs. How much do I need to start? And how much can I make with this? And I'm just
Right.
like, well, try it and then you'll see.
Right.
But generally speaking, I would say at least $1,000. Well, 500 can work out, but if you want to scale faster or bigger, I think
Right.
1,000 is kind of good. It
Okay.
has room for mistakes. So,
Right. Room for
yeah.
mistakes. And I think also, just to kind of piggyback off the sourcing stuff, is um, if they see, I know people know about Amazon, but I think selling on Amazon, people it's a little daunting for people that have never sold online before. And
Hmm.
however much money they start with, once they get that first sale and see that it's sold, it's kind of addicting, but it's also like that confidence boost that they know, okay, this is going to work. I'm going to keep selling. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
so I know you told me that you have hybrid of wholesale, OA, online arbitrage, and I'm sure you sell in a plethora of different categories. What would you say is your most favorite or preferred category, and why?
My favorite category is definitely grocery.
Okay.
Why? Because less returns
Right.
and they're just very fast moving products.
Right.
But yeah, number one would be less returns.
Can you
Because I hate
elaborate on why you think there's less returns?
Well, because it's food and it's not like a shoe where it doesn't fit or it's not that right flavor. Because obviously you get what you're seeing on the listing. If you want like a strawberry flavor or something, you're gonna get the strawberry flavor, unless the
Hopefully.
seller messes up and sends
Right.
them like a chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
Then that I can see that happening. But grocery just has less returns and it's just a fast moving category and
You
very
know,
profitable.
Speaking of which, I have a review on my store, and it
Oh,
literally says, got an iron instead of this product, and it's just sitting there. FBA took it off, but when you said that, it's kind of reminded me of that. Yeah,
oh,
like you said, the grocery is great because it's consumable, and I don't think Amazon allows returns on groceries too. That's the beauty of grocery. In addition to what you're saying, I don't think they allow it. I'm not sure on
that's
that.
true.
I'm
They
not sure
they
on that.
say so some
So go ahead. Go ahead.
oh sorry, it's a little bit freezing. Is it my internet? Oh, okay. It was
Hmm.
freezing a little bit,
Oh,
but
was it? Oh, my bad. I didn't
what
notice.
was I gonna say? Some buyers actually send me messages. Hey, I want to return it. So then I'll send them a prepaid label, and
Oh, there you go.
I'll let them do that. I have in my storefront like any issues. Try to message me first before
Okay.
leaving a bad review. So that kind of works out having that on your storefront.
How do you send that return label?
I use Pirate Ship.
No, I know, but do you send the actual label through like the messages? Because
Yeah,
can you
you
send?
just attach it.
Okay,
Yeah, you
gotcha.
can do that. Yeah.
I've never sent a return label. Usually they're most of the returns I get as far as FBM or return request, they're trying to scam because I'll check the tracking and it's literally it says delivered. The time I have refunded is when they've sent me like they told me it's damaged and stuff like that. So um
Yeah, Amazon has a little setting that you can, instead of Amazon authorizing the return request, the seller can authorize it instead.
right, right.
Yeah, so I have
And
that on.
that's another perk I think with FBM too. Like I
Yeah.
think Amazon through FBA, I think a lot of scammers get away with just lying and just
Mhm.
tell Amazon some bullshit,
Yep.
to get the return. But at least on FBM, you can kind of control that a little bit more.
Mhm.
Okay? Grocery was your first. What would you say your number two favorite category?
Um, Electronics.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like electronics a lot because it's more of like the high ticket, and
Right.
so higher tickets are a little more profitable.
What would
So,
you say is a higher ticket? What price range?
like around $200,
Oh, damn,
like
you're up
up
there.
there. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was actually in the electronics category for wholesale. So a
Okay.
lot of my, like, the margins for wholesale are very small, like 10%, but the
Right.
profit dollar amount is very high.
Right.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. 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 Yeah,
Hmm.
I used to sell like I alluded to earlier. I used to sell a lot of hype shoes, and I started selling hype shoes also on Amazon, but I've kind of gotten away from that just because whenever someone returns like a I don't know $160 shoe, and they obviously wore it, they all obviously damaged it a little bit. It's hard to get
Hmm.
salvage that money back. So now I really try not to sell anything that's valued over 100. Because
Yeah.
generally speaking, if a customer buys something that's $100, $110, I feel like there's a higher tendency that they might return it because it's in the back of their heads. And I don't think people that are really trying to buy hype shoes like that have money are going on Amazon anyways, right?
Yeah, they're going to StockX
Yeah, StockX or just
or
like
Go.
ups or something. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Okay. So from your experience selling on Amazon, is there a category that you would advise new Amazon sellers to either stick to or abstain from? New sellers.
Um, to start, or
Yeah, there's
um,
like
grocery.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, grocery is good because it's easy to ungate the entire category,
Hmm.
and it's easy to go to like Costco and start scanning stuff.
Right,
And it's easy to find something that's profitable that you can sell on the spot, FBM.
hmm,
And you can also find something that you can start sending to FBA so that you can learn the process of
right.
sending to FBA.
And they're lower ticket items, right? If they don't have that much
And
money,
definitely lower ticket items. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that as opposed to like shoes where like a Nike shoe is going to cost you about $40. If you buy five, you're already hitting almost $250, right? So I
Yeah.
agree. I think grocery is good. I also think beauty is kind of good because they're not too expensive either. And you can get a little more higher
Beauty is
profit.
good, but honestly, like, I've gotten a bunch of inauthentic complaints for dealing with beauty stuff,
Right,
even though the items are real.
right.
So I'm gonna just shift away from that category
That's fair.
completely.
That's so interesting. Like that's the beauty of like kind of interviewing other people. Like I have on one hand, I have some people that say they love beauty because they get low returns and they
Mhm.
don't really express much about inauthenticity complaints. Whereas me, I agree with you. So I used to get a bevy of just inauthentic complaints with shoes and stuff naturally, right? Nike and stuff like that, Converse. But when I went to beauty, it was great. But then I was getting intellectual property complaints. So
Yeah.
and
Did you hear about all those Section 3 emails going out today?
what was that?
Did you hear about those Section 3 emails going out
I
today?
did. I
That's
saw.
crazy. I can't believe
Yeah.
that.
So
It's
what is
all it's
so
all
just
beauty
what
stuff.
just from what you're saying. So yeah, this morning I'm in this Facebook group and there was these emails
Yeah.
that are going out to a lot of sellers saying that your account is at risk of deactivation for Section 3. What is that? Do you know what that is exactly?
I guess it's like misuse of business conduct with Amazon, something like that.
Is that in relation to like inauthenticity things or
A lot. I guess I was seeing like mixed type of stuff on there on Twitter. So one of them, that's the Section 3. So
Mhm,
I don't know if that also means drop shipping. I'm not too familiar with like the codes and stuff. But I know that the brands affected were mostly beauty and makeup brands.
Ooh, interesting.
So something of that sort. And then some other people were saying that they're tired. Amazon's tired of dealing with counterfeits, so they're just removing. I guess they're just removing all of that. Third-party
Yeah.
sellers selling beauty stuff, so it could be a possibility. Not sure.
Yeah, I think as someone who did heavy shoes for a while, I've fought so many counterfeit complaints and I've won them all. So
Nice.
as far as compared to that, beauty has it pales in comparison to that. But I've only gotten one inauthentic complaint, but I've gotten like 3 IP complaints with beauty. So I don't know. I guess it's a push or pull kind of thing. Was that?
Same with
Yeah.
the complaints. I have 3 right now.
Oh, wow. So now you're mostly grocery and electronics, would you say?
Yeah, because the worst thing that can happen with grocery is expiration date,
Right. And you can't
and
fake.
that's yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not that bad of a violation getting expiration dates,
Right.
so it's not too
Okay.
bad.
But electronics, so you don't experience high return rates on electronics. Is that right? I feel like
Some items, yes. Other items, no. If it's fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, then I don't really experience too much returns.
okay.
Not too much actually. Not as
Huh.
bad as shoes. I have a bunch of shoes that are coming back right now,
Okay. Okay.
used.
Um, I say this because I don't do a lot of electronics, but I do have like 5 or 6 ASINs that are electronics, and there's one in particular that I do get returned, and then they've clearly opened the seal, and once they've
Mhm.
obviously used it, so it's kind of like it's harder to sell, I think, a used electronics versus a used shoe, from my
Oh
experience. So,
yeah.
uh, anyways, so on your Instagram, it's apparent that you ship out, like 50 plus FBMs in a given day. How do you execute that? Like, do you have a time in the day when you start packing, and do you have a
Yeah.
scheduled time where you want to be at USPS? Is there some sort of plan in your day that you execute this?
Yeah. So I get up kind of early. So my virtual assistant already has labels made for me in an email. So I
Okay.
just get up and print them.
Okay.
And I try to leave my house around 8, 9 a.m. And then I pack all my stuff. So usually I do around at least 60 to 100 packages per day. Takes me
Golly.
like around 2 hours or something
Yeah.
like that, an
Yeah.
hour or 2 hours. So I'm
Uh,
pretty fast, and it's all this like same stuff over and over again.
okay. I
So,
see. So it
so I
doesn't
kind of
matter what
already
you're packing it
them.
into. You're just slapping it
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Gotcha.
Well, yeah, I pre-pack sometimes too.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of my routine. And I try to be at USPS by 11 or 12, the latest.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah.
So do you, and I think I asked you this one time in your messages, like, how do you drop? So when I go drop off a USPS, I have usually two big duffel bags full of them. But my FBM orders are all kind of smaller packages, right? So
Yeah.
I'm able to go to that silver drop box thing, and just put them all in there, blah 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 blah, and
Oh,
I'm
okay.
done. But yours are kind of bigger boxes,
The
right? They're the
boxes.
they're the flat rate boxes, right?
Hmm.
So where do you drop them off at?
I drive to the back. There's a loading dock,
No
and
way.
you can just fill up those carts in the back.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
and then you just leave it there, and then
I
they
wonder,
pick it up.
is that only for like if you have flat rate, or is that
Anybody can go back there. Yeah,
oh,
anybody can go back there. Instead of
oh,
waiting in line or
yeah.
dealing with people inside, I just drive to the back, drive the truck like to the loading dock, and
Uh-huh.
I just put everything on there.
Okay. Do you put it in the actual truck, or is it like there's a location for you to stack them?
They have those little bins, like those big
Oh,
old.
gotcha.
They're like carts, I guess, and
The
you just
silver
fill them
looking
up.
one.
Yeah, I filled up 3 at one time
Damn, there you go.
during Prime Day in July or June. It was or
Nice.
somewhere in the summer. I
Dang, you
filled
put
up
me
3
on
of
game.
those.
I'm gonna have to go back there now. I see. Usually when I walk inside, there's literally no one at that little drop off place,
Oh,
and
really?
so I have no issue. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So during your FBA business, what would you say is the most effective way to source and to find profitable products to sell on Amazon? Now, this can be either one thing, a multitude of different things, or how do these all combine together?
So I have 2 sourcing VAs.
Okay.
One is OA and the other one's wholesale, but he's kind of taking a break right now.
Mhm.
And but my favorite way is manual. I
Okay.
like manual sourcing. So I just go on a website and I do the right click, the SaaS seller amp. I
Uh-huh.
bring up that extension on every product and just manually source. And then I also like doing Amazon to Amazon, A to A
Okay.
flips.
Huh.
So those are actually becoming like my favorite ones now. So I
Mhm.
found a couple stores, storefront stocking. I also do that.
Okay.
And I found a couple stores that have really good A to A flips. So now I'm just kind of going back to their stores and checking
Could
what
you
they have.
could you just elaborate what A2A is and what storefront stocking is?
Storefront stocking is when you check a storefront for different, I guess, profitable items. If a store check what they're selling,
Mhm.
and if they're selling anything good, you kind of try to reverse source into Google and see where they're getting it from.
Nice.
And A to A flips is when Amazon has like a sale, they drop their prices below like around 40% off. And that's when you pick them up from Amazon.
Mhm.
And then you sell them back on Amazon when the price jumps up.
Gotcha. So the
Yeah,
only thing about A2, have you ever gotten some sort of violation or anything where you have to show your Amazon
I have
receipt?
not. I have
That's
not.
that is the one thing that's kind of made me stay away from A2A flips. I see a lot of, it's lucrative for sure. That's the one thing that scares me a little bit, not gonna lie.
But why? You just
I,
don't use Prime.
that's what I've heard. As long as you're not using Prime, they don't care. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a theory that you can use Amazon Day Delivery
Uh-huh.
instead of Prime shipping. So, but I
Okay.
don't know, it's not proven. I've got it ungated using Amazon Day Delivery. You know how they give you options
Right, right, right.
at the end? So
Uh,
instead of using Prime shipping, get it tomorrow, you use Amazon Day and it takes like 5 days or something like that.
oh, okay.
So I've been using that method. So far, no issues, but it's not proven that it works. So
And I'd imagine when you buy the Amazon product, you're buying it on another account, right? Not your actual seller.
yeah, business account.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you reverse source, you manual source. I'd imagine by now you probably know what sites have sales and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Because I would imagine you don't just go and search on Google, right? You kind of have these sites down that you've kind of narrowed down through the years of selling, correct?
Yes. I also have a list of storefronts that I regularly check.
There you, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think also what I like to do now is I'll go on Rakuten and look at the hot deals and see
Oh, yeah.
what sites have sales. Um, that and something that doesn't get talked about as much is emails, right? There's a various sites that'll send you like VIP sale discount before it goes public, that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So, but other than that, yeah, I also manual source, reverse source. I've been also using Keepa product finder lately. I'm not sure if you're versed with
Oh,
that.
I love that one. Yes,
Yeah,
it's
like
really good.
especially
Yeah.
when like what you were alluding to earlier, when I go reverse source on someone else's store and I find like this brand that I've never heard of, I'll go on Keepa product finder and just like look at all these products in that brand, and that's a good another way as
Yep.
well. So speaking of software, so me personally, I use Buybot Pro extension. I used to use SellerAmp, but I use Buybot Pro calculator now to analyze listings and whatnot because it connects to my Profit Protector Pro, which is my repricer. So it's made my the time for my virtual assistant like just way easier. He can just minimum, maximum on the actual extension, and it gets sent over to the repricer. He used to have to like manually go over and do all this stuff. So um, that and also the Google Sheets. I know SellerAmp also has that as well.
Yeah.
That's made selling and analyzing much easier for me. Could you list the different kind of softwares that you use during your sourcing?
I definitely use
Sorry,
SellerAmp.
not just sourcing, just your whole business model as it is.
Okay. So I use SellerAmp, of course, Keepa,
Mhm.
my repricer, SellerSnap, which I
Okay.
love.
Okay.
What else do I use? Jungle Scout
Oh,
for,
really?
yeah, I use Jungle Scout. I like Jungle Scout. It's a bit expensive,
It
but
is.
it's worth it.
Okay.
Um, what else do I use? Obviously, all the coupon extensions, the cashback extensions.
Mhm.
Um, for sourcing, I guess that's it. Like SellerAmp and Keepa, that's really all you need.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, you really just need Keepa, like the SellerAmp and Buybot Pro, and just extensions like
Mhm.
that are just good to have that hands-on calculator. And honestly, Google Sheets. I think I really need the calculator along with Google Sheets so I can send it to my VA, or
Yeah,
just like
definitely.
bookmark a listing somehow.
Mhm.
So what would you say as far as Keepa goes? What is one of the more important data points on Keepa that you look at?
I look at 3 months back, and
Mhm.
then I look at the offers sold within 30 days. I check that. And then I check buy box statistics. And then more importantly, I check the average sales 30 days, 90 days to see where where it's actually at instead of the actual buy box price.
Mhm.
So I check that, and then I check how long a seller has been on a listing, and
Okay.
then I check like their little Keepa graph that's on there. Like every seller has a little Keepa graph for the stock, like it
Uh,
kind of moves.
on the last
So
30-day thing, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right there. So I check that their stock, if it's moving, it's going down, or if they replenish. So and then I check how long they've been on the listing. So
Okay.
that also tells me that that's a good ASIN. And then I like checking their stock because if a seller has a lot of stock,
Mhm.
it could be a good replan ASIN.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like
Yeah,
checking that too.
that last 30-day tab, I think I give sometimes I feel like I give too much weight. I give it a little too much attention, but normally I like to obviously
Same.
seller amp and whatever give you that last 30-day, which is kind of just a projection, right, from Keepa's bestseller or Amazon's bestseller ranking. But that last 30-day, I think it's very convenient because of variations and stuff, right? Because I think seller amp, does it give you per variation or does it give you just like the parent listing on there in the last 30 days?
They
I think
have that little variation thing, but I don't really
they
use it.
yeah, I don't either. Whenever there's variations and everything pretty much, I'll always check the last 30 days. And me
Yeah,
personally, I'll look at the last 30 days and then I'll divide it by the number of sellers. And theoretically, I can sell this much by sharing the buy box evenly, theoretically,
yeah,
right? I
yeah.
will say I was telling someone else about the last 30 days and how much attention I give it. Someone tried to tell me, I'm not sure if this is facts or not, but someone was telling me that if you see someone with, let's say, on the little Keepa graph you're saying, on the little graph, it's 40. Let's say the seller has 40, right? 40 in
Oh,
stock, and then it
mhm.
drops. Um, I used to I used to think, oh, he just sold that much. But a friend of mine was saying, well, he just changed his stock to like two or something like that, or like his max quantity he can sell to two. So that's why.
Yeah. So what he's doing, they put the max order quantity so that other sellers won't put your entire stock in their cart, and then you can't sell it.
Right. But I
But
do that.
it
I do
makes it
that.
look like they sold them.
Go ahead.
It makes it look like they sold them on Keepa. So it says sold
Oh,
30
okay.
days, maybe 30 units,
Huh.
but in reality, they're just hiding their stock.
Yeah. Right. Right. I never, whenever I have like a lot of stock in something, I always put max order quantity of two because me personally, if I go on someone's listing and I see that they have like 50, I'm kind of like, dang, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to compete with them on the buy box and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I do it. And also to prevent people from trying to scam and stuff like that.
True. Yep.
Okay. So I wanted to ask you, I know you started last year. Did you start right at the beginning of Q4 of 2022?
Yeah, actually, I did. Yeah. I started like around this time last year,
Okay.
Halloween.
So knowing what you knew, well, knowing what you went through last year during Halloween and Q4, how are you preparing for this Q4?
Definitely gonna check all of the old ASINs from last Q4.
Mhm.
Um, and what I already did in preparation is I opened more credit cards.
There you go.
And then I'm thinking about taking the Amazon loan that they're offering me, but I'm
Ooh,
not too quite sure about that yet.
yeah.
I'm also loading up on a bunch of boxes, those 4x6 labels.
There you go.
And then I'm thinking of hiring maybe one or two friends because I don't want to get those Home Depot guys. So I might hire like one or two friends to come and help me pack.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna just be FBMing. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I think last Q4, I remember it was like the middle of December. And I'm thinking like, damn, I should have bought more. You see all it's
Yes.
that one time of the year where not only does like the buy box price increase, all the sellers decrease, it's like that perfect Keepa chart. And now you're out of stock, you know? And so I've been trying to buy more and more right now because if you buy right now, you should be able to at least get to the listing by the beginning of December. And I've been
Hmm.
trying to tell myself that. And of course, a bunch of FBM, right? So,
Yep.
so I like you said, you started last Halloween, and I noticed that you've gone pretty big jump, right? I think you were doing about 7K, 10K. Now you're at 100K last year, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I wanted you to kind of articulate what was that like? Like, what do you think first helped you get from 0 to 50K and then from 50K to 100K?
Just getting comfortable with spending,
Mhm.
hiring some sourcing VAs, um, and then just doubling down on what's already working for you or for me. So that
Mhm.
basically, I kind of like those first couple months was just kind of like I just wanted to see what can I can replenish, and
Mhm.
then from there I just started doubling down on my replens.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what? Because I'm curious because I'm right around 40K. I can only I already go through a lot of just little things, little annoying things like customer returns and stuff like that. I can
Yeah.
only imagine at 100K. There's probably a lot of things that kind of slip through the cracks, right? So
Hmm.
could you expound on that? Is it worth going all the way to 100K and dealing with all that, or did you like that about being around that 50K?
It's worth it.
Uh,
So I got an admin virtual assistant to deal with all that customer service type of stuff.
right.
And I also leveraged a prep center that also handles my FBM in Texas.
Oh,
So
nice.
he's pushing a couple like 50 to 100 units per day while
Right.
I'm over here doing my 50 to 100.
Nice.
So I'm okay with the less margins.
Hmm.
Um, but that's what it takes to scale. You have to outsource.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think for sure getting a prep center, even after, I think after like 20K, you need to get a prep center because you're going to be spending most of your time just packing at that.
Definitely.
Um, but also what you said earlier, an admin VA, I think is so valuable.
Mhm.
Sometimes he's more valuable than my leads VA to an extent because whenever I have like an IP complaint or an authenticity complaint, he already knows the template. He already knows how to fill it out and write it up, and he'll just send it to me ASAP, and I can just push that
Yes.
out. Just things like that. And customers that message me, with their BS. So he
Yeah.
knows all the template, all that kind of stuff. I think when you go from 50 to I'd imagine 100K just compounds, and I can only imagine how much like little stuff like that you have to deal with. So, but
Yeah.
you're right. Margins are smaller, but it's more profit, right?
Yeah.
So for sure, for sure. Okay. So, in your Amazon business, I think you've kind of alluded to some of this, but maybe you can hone down on what are some systems that you have in place that makes your business operate effectively.
So definitely the prep center. I have
Okay.
two prep centers, one for OA
Mhm.
in a tax-free state, and then I have my FBM prep center in Texas, and then
Okay.
I have my sourcing VAs, and then I have just the softwares and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's pretty much it. Just keeping it simple because I had five virtual assistants at one point, and I
Yeah.
narrowed down to three.
Yeah.
So I think less is more in that sense.
Right. Right.
So
No,
yeah, and then,
I also kind of went crazy on VAs for a little while too. And I was like, it's better just to have less and get
yeah.
quality out of them, right?
Mhm.
For sure. So, can you speak a little bit more about the FBM? I'm interested because my prep center does do FBM, and I've never really gave much credence to that. But now that you've mentioned it, maybe I should. They just charge. I think it was pretty expensive for them to do FBM. I think that's
Yeah.
why I kind of hesitated. So, does your prep center is that what they solely do is FBM, or it's just an added on perk?
He does FBA too, but he's in Texas, so they kind of have like a tax rate up there or down
I live
there.
in
So,
Texas, 8.25%. It's insane.
yeah, so I kind of just send him like my tax exempt type of
There you
stuff over there, and he charges me like around $1.50 for
Nice.
per unit. Because I know he said, oh, some guys charge 354, so I'm giving you a deal. So can you maybe bring me a lot of volume for this
Okay.
rate? And I said, okay, sure. So it kind of works out for both of us. And he's a startup, so he's not really out there.
Mhm.
So it's kind of someone I met through a friend.
Okay.
So
Oh,
I kind of taught him how to do everything. So we're
okay.
kind of growing together.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to trust them because like those
Yeah.
FBMs are pretty it's kind of precious in your business because if you mess something up, the customer directly gets it, right? So
Yeah. He was messing up for a while, but he's getting the hang of it now.
there you go. That's awesome. That's actually a relationship I haven't really heard of. So that's very unique. And that's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, so capital is important, and I think we kind of touched up on this a little bit. one thing about Amazon that I think new sellers don't really understand is we make profit, but we don't keep that profit, right? We spend it again on inventory and continuously grow. And I think a lot of new sellers come on seeing the orange bars and look at the profit losses people post and be like, wow, I can profit 9K. Well, really, that 9K already went to more products, right? So,
Yes.
when you first started, how did you have capital? How did you start earning capital? Did you take out loans? Did you open up credit cards? Could you expound on that, please?
So I had around like 10K just saved up, and then
Mhm.
Black Friday came around, and I kind of just blew it all on
Okay.
sales. So then I got a credit card, another 10K, and I blew that. And I just was like, I need something more. So I got
Right.
the American Express Gold card,
Nice.
and I just started using that. So I was able to scale like that. So yeah, that's kind of how I
Yeah.
did it starting
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. I think don't. So I try to tell people as well, like you can open up credit cards, right? But that's also assuming they have good credit and all that, right? So I do think getting credit cards with zero APR is the move.
Hmm.
That's why I think you mentioned earlier the Amazon loan. I've always hesitated on the Amazon loan because they always have that APR, which is kind of high, honestly. Like I think it's like
Yeah.
9%, 10%. And there's so many business credit cards out there that have their promotional 12% APR. And I just, I know all of them. I'm not going to open up all of them at once. I'm going to kind of keep stacking it, and as my credit score raises, I can get a higher limit, right? So I don't know. I have heard that if you get an Amazon loan, it's kind of some insurance on being deactivated because they have like skin in your
I don't
game.
know. I've heard that they still deactivate you.
Well, I know someone personally that still got deactivated, and he was the huge seller. He was a huge wholesaler, and he had like two loans actually, and he
Wow.
still got deactivated. But that's a theory that's been kind of going around. So I'm not sure. That was honestly the only reason I was thinking about doing it, like opening up like a small, like real small, like $1,000 or something, just for like insurance purposes.
Mm. Yeah,
Really.
that's. I think maybe just open it and like blow through it, find something that's working for you, and then pay it off like as quickly as
Right.
possible.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I think it's going to take me a while to actually open up an Amazon loan when there's so many business credit cards out there with no
Yeah,
APR.
I'm on the fence about it too. I'm not too like I'm not. I don't know. I'm still thinking
Yeah.
about it.
And also the Chase Business Unlimited, they all offer $750 reward each one. You can open up all three of them and they'll give you the 750. So I've opened up two and they all have 0% APR. Um,
Do you have to
during
spend a certain amount?
Yeah, you have to spend. I mean, it'll be nothing from you and I, but you do have to spend like 9,000 in like 2 months or 3 months. You know,
Okay,
so it's not nothing crazy
that's
either.
easy.
Yeah, that's nothing crazy. But during Christmas time, they bump that 750 up to 900. So
Oh,
it
nice.
yeah, I'll send you a link if you're ever interested.
Yeah,
If
send
you're
me your ref.
Yeah, yeah. But for the new seller, I think you can get approved for these kind of cards with a decent credit score. It doesn't have to be like a super high credit score that like Amex. Amex, I think you need to have like a really high credit score
Yeah.
to get approved for. But with Chase, you can get a pretty modest a credit score person to get approved. Same with the Capital One Spark. The two,
Yes, that one.
yeah,
Mhm.
I think I'm not sure if that one has 0% APR, but 2% cash back is pretty crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, okay, so I think I was alluding to this earlier. A lot of new sellers come on and they have a misconception about selling on Amazon as far as revenue. They see all the orange bars, and a lot of disingenuous sellers kind of promote that as actual profit, which is really not the case. So, what do you believe is the largest misconception about selling on Amazon by new sellers?
The largest misconception would definitely be that it's a passive income type
Yeah,
of business, which is definitely not. It
definitely.
could be after a lot of hard work and dedication,
Mhm.
but it's definitely not passive income. And I feel like a lot of people see this going around on Instagram because they see these gurus out there like traveling and doing all this and that, living their best life while
Yeah,
having the Amazon business working on the background. But it takes a lot of hard work, actually. It's not, passive at all. And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the number
They're
one misconception.
they're marketing their life, which is
Yeah.
not usually not really the case either. Right. But see the passive, I think you were saying it could be passive, but it could only be passive if you have your systems in place, right? Like your
Hmm.
VAs and I will say Amazon shipping out the orders and stuff is technically passive, but to get those items there, it definitely was not passive, right? So
Yeah. You have to
uh,
buy the items.
you have to buy the items and you got to make the correct buying decisions, and then sometimes items could be a loss, So
Yep.
there's a lot of risks, and it's not just butterflies with passive income.
Hmm.
Um, so I've had various tumultuous times selling on Amazon, and I have persevered, thankfully, as do most sellers, except for the ones that get really dinged and their accounts deactivated. But during your journey selling on Amazon, what would you say has been the most stressful time? Was there an issue that happened with Amazon and you had to
Yeah.
like get through it? Can you expound on how you got
Actually, like 2 weeks ago, I got a IP complaint. It wasn't showing on my account. So it said at risk of deactivation, but it wasn't showing on my account. So I was like, what the
She's got
hell?
the email for it, right?
Yeah, I got the email. So I
Mhm.
called and they said it was for some product that the brand filed a complaint on me because I guess it's like fake or counterfeit.
Uh-huh.
So, and it ended up actually being some distributor that I didn't really fully do my research on. So I kind of could see where they're coming from with this.
Uh-huh.
So the way I fixed it, I just kind of acknowledged that I had to do like a plan of action to not buy from shady distributors anymore, and kind of just let them know like my procedure as for vetting suppliers, and kind of just agree to their terms. So now, when I'm looking for suppliers, I kind of have like this procedure where I have to look them up on Google and see how long their domain has been active for.
Huh.
So just to see if they're like a legit distributor.
So did you
So
try to fight it for a while? Did you try to send appeals?
no, I kind of already knew that this
You did.
distributor was. I already
Cool.
knew, so
Wow.
I kind of just sucked it up and
Damn.
acknowledged it.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I don't get any more.
Yeah. So I've been in your shoes on something like that. Like I pride myself in fighting a lot of the violations I get. Even IP complaints. A lot of times the brand will give you an IP complaint, and their issue is we can't confirm it's authentic. So if you just upload your POA and your invoices, Amazon will take your IP complaint off because all the brand can do is argue that we can't verify it's authentic because it's not coming from us.
Yeah, true.
However, I had an issue similar to yours where I had a customer complain that an item was inauthentic. And I was like, oh, I bought it from Walmart. Okay. I'll just fight it. I bought it and it kept getting denied. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And it was a beauty product, by the way.
Oh,
And after like the third appeal, I realized I went on Walmart. It was the ship and sold by a third party. And this was like earlier,
oh.
earlier in my days. I didn't realize that.
Was it IT Cosmetics?
No, it wasn't IT Cosmetics. It was I can't remember that. It was
I
just
got
some
in
weird,
trouble with one of those too.
it was a weird brand, but on when I tried to reach out to a third party seller on Walmart to get their invoice, they were banned from
It was
Walmart.
probably
So
China.
yes, I was screwed because there was transparency labels that had to be on those products too. So like I was really screwed, right? So I tried I can't tell you how many times I tried to appeal, and that was a one time where I had to acknowledge an inauthenticity complaint, and I was tripping. I was like, man, that sucks because I'm acknowledging that it's really inauthentic. So,
Oh, I see.
but yeah, I think that's the worst ones to acknowledge. I think is an IP complaint and an inauthentic complaint. Um, Things like the restricted product stuff like that. I don't think it harms your health score as much or at all. So,
Okay.
but yeah, those anytime, and then I think 2 weeks ago I got hit with 3 IP complaints. Bang, bang, bang. It was all from the same brand, but it was 3 different products. But I was like,
Wow.
why is this 3 separate IP complaints? So I had to fight like 3 separate IP complaints. I even reached out to the brand owner. He was pretty much saying, tough luck. He's not going to help me out.
Oh,
So, yeah, it is what it is.
yeah. It's all
Um,
part of the game.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So do you have like a plan of action template now that you kind of go back to whenever things like that happen?
Not really. I should, because remember it wasn't showing on my account, so I couldn't even acknowledge it there. I had to get on call and acknowledge it through phone with seller support.
That is
So
wild. I've
I
never
should have
heard that.
one of those.
I've
Yeah,
never
I
heard.
know it's
You had to
weird.
verbally acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild. Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
I should.
probably even wonder if it was a real email at first, you know?
That's what I was thinking too, but I did have that brand in my inventory, so it made sense.
So sometimes it shows up in your little performance notification thing. Um, Something really odd, even with shoes, sometimes it wouldn't be the customer that would give me an inauthentic complaint. It would be Amazon inventory that would give me inauthenticity complaint. And
Weird.
it wouldn't, those won't show up on your health impact score. It'll show up in your performance notification. I don't know. Really odd. That's kind of why I started even staying away from shoes. I'm like, first I got to deal with customers. I have to deal with Amazon employees giving me an authenticity complaint. Like, this is wild. So,
Yeah.
anyways, so you've been selling for a year now. You went from 0 to 100K in sales. Do you personally believe that someone can start selling on Amazon through FBA with $1,000?
Yeah, it's doable. It's doable.
Give
It
them the framework.
depends.
Give them the framework with $1,000.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible. If I had $1,000 now, and if I was starting from scratch, I think I could definitely make it happen. Yeah, yeah, I think it's
What
doable.
route? What route would they have to take with $1,000?
All
Some with
right.
like, okay.
Yeah, retail arbitrage for sure. Go and scan stuff at Ross and Marshalls, the Nike outlet.
Mhm.
Try to get ungated. I would go through the auto ungate ASIN lists
Mhm.
and yeah, start there.
Yeah. RA, mainly RA because the higher profits, right? You want to find things. If you only have $1,000, I mean, you're already spending probably like what $100 in the subscription and some software, so you really have like $900. So finding things with
Yeah.
high profitability would be the real way. And like we alluded to earlier, probably should go FBM so you can turn your money quicker, right?
Hmm.
Because the worst thing you
Yeah.
want to do is spend all your $900 on inventory and then Amazon loses the shipment, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
So, because I do think I agree with you. Like, I know a lot of people say you need at least like 5K, 10K, but I do think if you're realistic and you know with 1,000, you're not going to turn that into like 100K in 3 months, which that kind of sentiment gets thrown around everywhere that you can go from 0 to 100K in 3 months. It's totally possible. I think it's totally possible depending on how much capital you have or how much
Hmm.
capital you have available to you, right? So,
Yeah. It also depends
$1,000.
on the network also. So say you're starting off Amazon and you happen to know your friend happened to be a some type of distributor.
Mhm.
So you have capital and your friend's a distributor, that can really
Oh, yeah.
grow fast as well too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think $1,000. Be realistic, but you can grow the
Hmm.
money. And if you're playing the long game, if you're playing a year long, then sure you can turn that $1,000 into 20,000 if you play the long game. Because after you've been doing it for a while, you might be exposed to getting more capital through cards, loans, and stuff like that. Right. So,
Yep, definitely.
so something I didn't know about you was the wholesale facet of your business. So, could you tell me what are some advantages that you've experienced selling through the wholesale model versus the OA model
Some advantages.
with wholesale over online arbitrage?
Um, well, for wholesale, a lot of my listings don't have rank, so a
Mhm.
lot of like OA sellers kind of stay away from them.
Oh, interesting.
But I guess for sure, wholesale, like the main advantage is definitely being able to buy a lot of
Uh-huh.
inventory all in one shot and getting like a discount, like a bulk discount. And some distributors will ship directly to FBA, even though like I wouldn't trust that.
Yeah.
But those are some advantages there.
Okay. And how about what would you say are advantages with OA over wholesale?
Definitely the profit margin,
Yeah.
the ROI.
Hmm.
Yeah, so OA has a higher ROI than wholesale,
Hmm.
which I that's why I try to even out both of them
Hmm.
just to even out my margins and increase the margins a little bit.
Okay. What about
Yeah.
your lead time with your distributors? Does it take a while for them to actually arrive, or are they pretty
Yes.
quick?
Yeah, so right now I'm waiting on an order that I placed 2 months ago.
Damn.
Mind
Yeah.
you, this is an $8,000 order,
Okay.
so that's just capital just tied up in that
Yeah.
order, and they barely shipped it today, so I'm waiting for
Right.
that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I think also, as you mentioned, the return, like online arbitrage is coming, they're assuming it's going direct to the customer, so they're going to offer all these like coupons and discounts. Whereas wholesale, I would imagine when you're talking to the rep, you're not going to be able to get a huge. I know you said you mentioned a big discount, but how big is that really?
Well, actually, it depends how long you've been in business with the distributor. Because your first couple orders, they won't give you a discount. They'll say,
Right.
"Oh, you got to do a little more volume with us, and then maybe we'll consider a discount."
Mm,
So,
mm.
yeah, it
So,
depends.
so would you say that it would be worthwhile to even start purchasing from a distributor at even less than desired profit margins in hopes that down the line you could strike a better return on your investment order?
Yeah. So wholesale is really all about building relationships with the distributors or with your sales reps.
Hmm.
So the more they hear from you, the more they see you ordering, they're
Hmm.
more inclined to give you a discount in the long run. And they start to remember who you are and what you like to order. So then they start reserving stuff for you.
Wow.
So I think it could be beneficial to make a relationship with the wholesaler or sales rep.
Wow. So how
Yeah.
many suppliers do you have now?
Um, I have a long list of distributors, but I actually only do business with like five or less of them.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, I know I was speaking with someone else, Oscar, and he was saying that he really just has one or two, but he purchased a lot of ASINs from those one or two. But that
Yeah.
sounds awesome because now you don't have to deal with one company. So awesome.
Less is more.
Yeah. So do you believe in going into 2024 that selling on Amazon is still going to be a lucrative business, or do you believe the whole stigma that's getting too saturated?
Definitely not saturated at all. So I think it'll still be lucrative in 2024. I think Amazon is just growing more and more every year. So I think it's I think I'm still going to be selling on Amazon from a couple years from now. So it's definitely lucrative. I think if you're a new seller, start learning the ropes and getting into it because Amazon's here to stay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so
Sure.
much foot traffic. I try to have this analogy that Amazon is like if you think of like a mall, right? There's so much foot traffic in the mall, but online Amazon, it's like think of that, but like thousands of people walking by your store, and it could be
Yeah.
it's unlimited amount of people walking by your store.
Yeah,
Um,
I was actually just looking at the like there's a little thing on Seller app. I don't know if it's new, but they have like a little ad thing that you can see how many people have viewed your store. Have you
oh
seen
yeah,
that?
yeah, yes. Well, I don't use SellerAmp anymore, but isn't there
The Seller app.
Even on Amazon, you can see how many people viewed your store on
Yeah,
the
I just
seller.
noticed that.
Oh, the seller app. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Seller app.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I was looking and I have 980,000 page
Oh,
views.
oh, nice.
That was crazy. I'm like, wow, that's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah. In how many days? For the last
30
few days.
days.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30
It's
days.
hard to really fathom how much traffic Amazon really generates until you actually start selling.
Yeah,
And it's only growing. And I also, just to argue to the point of saturation, I think that we've seen a drop off in sellers since last year. Would
you
you
think
say
so?
so? I think so. Like, now this might just be me in my own world on Instagram, but there's a lot of people that used to sell last year that I would see being active. They just don't post anymore. I don't think they sell anymore. That's a
Hmm.
small sample size, but I think I've heard someone else tell me that as well. A couple other people that I interviewed. So I do think that a lot of sellers have dropped off from last year. Obviously, there could be more new sellers, and then that would be a net positive of sellers, but still.
Yeah, I haven't really. Well, honestly, I'm not on social media too much to notice, but I maybe like one or two people I have noticed that they dropped off. Kind of
Okay.
makes me wonder, like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, I see again, some John that I interviewed a couple interviews ago, he told me that a lot of people are going into debt and stuff like that, and that they just
Wow.
took on too much than they could chew. So, okay.
Yeah, death is actually really scary, but if you
So,
can manage it, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I'm very comfortable with credit cards and stuff like that in my personal life. So I really just uh turned that into my business uh repertoire, I guess, of how I
Okay.
handled my business. So again, yeah, if you're new with credit cards, I would advise not just pulling out a bunch of credit cards to start your Amazon business. Start with the money you have and then start using credit cards responsibly for sure.
Mhm.
So kind of going to close with a couple questions here. What is your take on new sellers that are hesitant to start selling due to horror stories of account deactivations?
Um, I think they shouldn't be too scared because you know that saying, scared money don't make
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's worth at least trying than being scared and watching on the sidelines. So, I mean, you can get through everything. Everything has like a solution. So it's not the end of the world if you get like an IP complaint or an authentic complaint or something. You can always work around it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the longer you sell, you get into that health assurance thing.
Hmm.
So I think people shouldn't be scared to sell on Amazon just because of the deactivation thing. There's
Right.
all other avenues that you can sell on too, Walmart, TikTok. So
And
yeah,
you sell at Walmart too, right?
yeah, I saw on Walmart.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I think the whole being afraid of your account being deactivated, I think it just kind of compounds to convincing someone that they don't want to sell already. Like they already don't want to sell, and
Yeah,
now they're giving themselves reasons not to sell. Like even the saturation thing, like oh, people lament the fact that there's saturation taking place in account deactivation. So now I'm not going to sell. It was like, well, you can try at least with like 500 bucks, 1,000, and see how it goes. And if it doesn't bode well for you, then quit, but don't give that a reason for you not to even try.
yeah.
And this is coming from someone who I have another account where I do my private label business, right? And that account got deactivated.
Oh
No,
wow.
no, and apparently it was because Amazon found something on the buyer side of that account, an issue, which I've never even bought on the buyer side. Like I just sold my private label brand. So that whole thing happened, but we got that recovered eventually.
Oh
Um,
okay.
so I think if you sell within Amazon's policies and stuff like that,
Hmm.
a lot of people try to cut corners. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of genuine sellers who really got their account deactivated. But I do think a lot of people that do get their account deactivated, they're not going to say that they're a bad apple. But I do think the ones that did get deactivated, they might have had it coming to them. So,
yeah. Hmm.
so in closing, what message or advice can you give to new sellers that you don't see being discussed as much in the Amazon community?
What advice?
Something that's underrepresented that you feel like in your personal business that you think you should have a more of a voice in the community.
Um, definitely look into like the couponing type of
Mhm,
thing to
mhm,
create profit.
mhm,
So I guess use coupons to manufacture profit
mhm,
and just FBM with 0 day handling. I think that's a good tip.
mhm.
And A to A, Amazon to Amazon.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes.
on the couponing, do you mean like what? Can you elaborate on the couponing?
So me and my virtual assistants use coupons to manufacture profit. Some
Mhm,
items won't be profitable without the coupons. So
mhm,
sometimes there's coupons that'll stack.
uh-huh,
So that'll create more profit for you. And then sending it off to a tax-free state prep center. So that
uh-huh.
all of that kind of works out hand in hand. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think you just launched a group, right? I want to just kind of give
Oh,
you
yeah.
a platform to just share the group and what it all entails and any other promos that you have.
So the Discord group is called Amazon Methods, and
Mhm,
it's basically kind of like an OA to wholesale transition type of group. So
mhm,
I have a bunch of videos, like how-to videos, and kind of like extensions that help me out. Credit cards that I started working on, well, that I opened to scale my business,
mhm,
and then I have basically a bunch of guides in there, and I do have a leads section as well.
Mhm.
and I have a Walmart section, and then I'm starting off with TikTok section as well, but it's mostly Amazon based group with a bunch
Nice.
of guides and videos on there. So
Okay.
yeah.
So it's centered around people that are already in OA that want to transfer to wholesale.
It's also beginner friendly. I have
Okay.
beginner videos in there.
Okay. So
Setting
it's
up
for beginners and people that are seasoned in selling.
Yeah, so it's for everyone really. Anyone that just wants to go in there and vibe and talk and network with other sellers. It's good.
Yeah, and so that's awesome because, like I said, I didn't know that you did wholesale. So you have obviously not a lot of knowledge in OA and wholesale. So who's better than for you to teach others how to transition or even to start both of
hmm
them,
I
right?
do have a wholesale section in there, sourcing for suppliers, how to set up your LLC, how to set up your website, what kind of websites that are most appealing for brands and distributors.
Hmm.
So I have that section in there. I'm still adding stuff every week, videos every week. So I'm still working on it.
Okay, okay. And where can they find you and the group?
Um, I have the link on my Instagram. My Instagram is FBA Cynthia underscore, Twitter or X, FBA Cynthia underscore,
Mhm.
TikTok, FBA Cynthia, and the group is Amazon Methods. So,
Awesome,
yeah.
awesome. So so the group is a Discord group, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so within Discord group, you have videos and instructional videos and stuff like that for
Yes.
anyone pretty much. Okay, cool. And so and then I'm sorry, could you tell me your Instagram handle? I see it. I see it every day. The Instagram handle is FBA Cynthia or Cynthia FBA.
FBA Cynthia, I think. I think it's FBA Cynthia,
F-
right?
okay,
Yeah, FBA Cynthia underscore. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, and
awesome.
that's also on Twitter and TikTok
I need to use
and
TikTok a little bit
Discord.
more. I started
Yeah.
on TikTok, but then I realized like the FBA community isn't as prevalent there as it is in
It
Instagram and
is.
Twitter. Is
It
it?
is. Yeah.
Oh, oh
Yeah,
wow.
but there's a lot of people that have no filter on TikTok. Like people
Oh.
talk trash on there.
Oh, really? Yeah. I actually
Yeah.
started posting on TikTok more. I have a decent following there. I just kind of stopped posting because I couldn't build like a community or anything as I can on like Instagram and Discord and
Mhm.
Twitter. So, or at least not build a community, but I didn't feel like I was really talking to anyone. I don't know. So,
Yeah, you have to get the business suite on TikTok.
okay. Okay.
So you can add
Okay.
links on your bio.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, Cynthia, so much for coming on here and just kind of giving all your information, your wealth of knowledge as it comes to both online arbitrage and wholesale. And I really love your FBM content and videos that you post on Instagram. Very inspiring. And I look at it, I'm like, damn, I need to fucking get to work, you know? So,
Mhm. Well,
anyways,
thank
thank you
you.
so much. I hope to have you on later as well. Everyone else watching, thank you. And we'll see you guys on next video.
Okay, thank you.